Please join me to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Now a moment of silence for all the first responders, firefighters, and police officers who have passed since our last meeting.
Let's take a moment to remember the 8 firefighters and 2 police officers that have passed.
Thank you.
Helen McNeil, Chair.
Here.
Corey Cooperman, Clerk.
Here.
Diana Christensen, Member.
Here.
Lance Waldrop, Member.
Here.
Scott Bringett, Member.
Here.
So normally at this point, I would hand this off to Chief Mazulis, but today is a bit of an unusual day because today we celebrate Chief Mazulis's 25 years with the Sedona Fire District. And so I insisted on having the privilege of doing the recognition. So prior to joining Sedona Fire District, Chief Mazulis had served with the Navy and worked with the Forest Service. He joined SFD in 2000 as a firefighter EMT and subsequently became medic certified in 2004, a captain medic in 2006, a battalion chief medic in 2012, division chief in 2015, and in September 2022, he became Sedona Fire District's first homegrown fire chief. And we're very proud of that. So he has an associate's degree in fire sciences from Coconino College, a bachelor's degree in leadership, and a master's in public administration with an emphasis on healthcare systems, which is probably why we're getting much better cooperation, I think, from Northern Arizona healthcare these days.
It's Buzz's kindness.
All of the above, all of the above. He's twice been named Officer of the Year and 4 times has won the SFD Community Service Award. He has a strong commitment not only to SFD, but also to our region. Through his collaboration with other Verde Valley and Yavapai County first responder organizations. He's a founding member of the Sedona Verde Valley Firefighters Honor Guard, serves as a board member on the Securus Insurance Pool, and as the Camp Verde Unified School District's representative on the board of the Valley Academy for Career and Technical Education. He's also the treasurer for and on the medical staff of the Arizona Diabetes Camp. Since becoming chief, he's accomplished what his predecessors before him had not, getting Sedona Fire District on the path to having a new Station 4 and ultimately a new Station 5. He's a role model for our younger firefighters about what is possible in a career with Sedona Fire District. It's my honor to recognize Chief Ed Mazulis for his 25 years of service to SFD. And honestly, while it's tempting to say, here's to 25 more, I'm not that foolish. But Chief Mazulis, I do hope you will be with us for a number of years yet to come. And thank you for your service.
I thank you, and I hope to be here for a while as well. That a while is to be determined. No, it hit me that I've been as a human being. With years collectively, I've spent more years as a Sedona Fire District member than I have not, and that was kind of a weird moment for me. But thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go backwards and go for the other 25-year guy, Captain Don Arwine. Donnie, get up here. So Donnie and I met at a fire science class in Flagstaff, and in high school I built Volkswagens, and he had a broke down Volkswagen, and I didn't know him from Adam, and I went to help, and I soon learned that he was also a very good Volkswagen mechanic, and he didn't need my help. He blew me off, but no, we've been friends ever since. We were hired in 2000, a group of 10, and we're 2 of 3 remaining. So of our group, some left on their own accord and some were asked to leave. So it's what it is. It's the fire service.
It's a different era.
And excuse me, Donnie got his medic in 2003, became an engineer in 2007. Almost tried to kill me a few times. We got to work together quite a while. And then in 2018 became a captain. He's got 2 wonderful adult daughters, which is still hard for me to wrap my head around. And his wife's the only reason most of us like him. So, and prior to SFD, Donnie spent time with the United States Army, and glad to call you a friend, and I'm glad you're still here, and I'm going to cancel your drop. So. I can do that.
Is it time for Donnie's stories?
Good on your own.
Thank you. Thank you for having me for 25 years.
Thank you.
I haven't been asked to leave, so.
We've been close. Next, I'd like to bring up firefighter Donnie Minardi. You gotta come up here, dude. So Donnie's been with us 10 years, and prior to that, he spent 5 years at a neighboring department, and we're glad he made the leap. Hired as a reserve in 2013, promoted to full-time in 2015, and he got his paramedic in 2017. And right, 2017. And he'll be testing for engineer?
Yes.
Yes, so it's a good thing. Again, Donnie's since he hit the ground here, he's been active with a lot of committees, and one of the many here that takes time to try to make this place just a little bit better. And he's going to single-handedly design Station 4 for us. He's going to show Lance what's up. So, man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your service. So here's to 20 more or more.
Thank you.
He's also wicked smart.
Yeah, he's a pretty smart guy. All right, now I'm gonna call up John Westbrook. Come on up. Hello. Now Fire Inspector Westbrook with Sedona Fire. And I'll be brief because I was told to be brief today, but not yeah. No, there's plenty. You've got a long career. In 2002, he started as a firefighter EMT with Summit Fire in the Flagstaff region, and moved his way up to captain. 2013, he moved down to Cottonwood, joined Cottonwood Fire Department, and then in 2019, he transitioned to their fire prevention division. And so, although he looks 18, he's got a long, proud fire service career. And we're super stoked to have him. I know Kirk's really happy to have him. And I want to welcome you officially again to Sedona.
Awesome. Thank you.
And well, who's pinning you?
Kyla,
do it right. I don't know if you can get it open, dude.
I didn't say no.
Actually, from the back of the room.
Stab.
90 degrees, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a brief intro and then turn it over to Buzz.
Thank you.
So for probably a decade, we had a pretty good partnership with a company called Wizard Education, and we cycled a lot of our paramedics through their program. And as typical in in the education environment or the world. They were bought out and changes happened. So we started evaluating different paramedic programs. And I want to commend Buzz for his out of the box thinking and our members for their out of the box thinking, because we did some creative things this time around with our members interested in paramedic school, up to and including me signing an IGA with the city of Mesa to accommodate. And what it did for the district is it kept us on track for our paramedic needs with retirements and changes to staffing, thing one. And thing two, a lot of these gentlemen were thoughtful about programs they selected. There wasn't much of a difference in cost, but they worked with Buzz to identify classes that were close to their home or had a level of convenience for them. And a lot of them were quicker programs than the standard program. So we got medics quicker, and we helped them with their work-life balance because they were able to minimize traveling and minimize a lot of the stuff involved. Paramedic school is a grind. It's one of the hardest things you'll do in the fire service. And I just think I commend you guys for your out of the box thinking and just kind of like, I want to do it. I want to support the district, and can you help me do it and support my family? And Buzz did a lot of work putting that all together with these guys. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right. I wrote really small, so I'm not going to stand. So if Indiana Palmer, Mark Essery, if you guys can just come up here so we can stare at you.
Yeah, uncomfortably.
There's also Dylan Risner, who couldn't be here today. But yeah, like Chief Missoula said, when you go to paramedic school, especially in our system, you're kind of doing your full-time job plus another full-time job. It's because we do it in addition to duties sometimes. So Indiana did one program that was in Mayer, so on the other side of the mountain, and Mark was in Glendale, Mesa, sorry. And Dylan went to Glendale. And that afforded them the work-life balance so that they could figure it out. That wasn't the main goal. The main goal was get 3 people. We don't often have the bandwidth as far as staffing and things to send 3 people, take them off the line and do it like a larger agency could. So while there was out of the box thinking, maybe these guys did the legwork and hounded me with some pressure that made us really look at it too. So I don't commend you for that, but that did help. And the cool part is we have 3 more that are in classes right now. So we're keeping that cycle going. But a little bit of background, this is generalizations. Each program is different in a different length, but in general, so don't count the numbers, okay? They spent the last 6 to 8 months doing 1,200 hours of work, including 650 or 600 contact hours with patients at least. And that's even if they didn't fulfill their things, they would have to do more hours because there's parameters and things that they have to accomplish within that. 450 hours as lead paramedics on calls, clinical time in hospital, upwards of 150 hours or something like that. Yeah. Plus tests. Mark and Dylan went to a 40-hour work week to accomplish this, but that was because they accelerated the program to like a super staggering pace at 3 months of classwork, I believe, that they crammed a paramedic class into, and the rest was that internship and clinical time. So they did a ton of work. And that's not just inside baseball of a fire guy thinking another fire guy is really great. That's the truth. And so they handled it well. And then they all passed their class with flying colors. And then that led to the National Registry of Paramedics test that they passed. And I think all of them are done with their ride time here internally through our base station. And they're cut loose. So if you slip, trip, and fall today, one of these guys or Dylan might come and get you. So we want to make more of an emphasis on the accomplishment of what becoming a paramedic is. We treat ranks very highly in the fire service. We've kind of fell off the radar with this. This is probably more work sometimes than testing for a promotion. They give their life away for a period of time. So the sacrifice of their family. Mark has a family. Indiana has family. His mom, Leslie, is here right now. She is. And Dylan also has family. So They did a lion's share of the work, and we just want to commend you and give you a little gift here. So thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. You bet.
Thank you very
Good job.
much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Congratulations. Great work. Congratulations.
Good job.
And all you guys who are already Permex, you don't get anything. So it's not retroactive.
Hey Buzz, I can't see the gift.
It's a stethoscope.
Nice.
Yeah. It says get to work on it.
Yeah.
Put your on the box.
So with all of this congratulating and everything, and although we have a full agenda tonight, we will do a 5-minute, literally, intermission for picture taking and congratulations and so on. So we will adjourn for 5 minutes. Meeting is reconvened. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak?
We do not.
So let's move to the consent agenda. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the regular meeting minutes for August 19th, 2025, and the executive session minutes for August 19th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I would like to move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Consent agenda is passed. Mr. Bulger, are you ready to do our financial report?
I am, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll be brief. We have money in the bank. We're good. Any questions?
That's good.
All right. We'll give you a little bit more information. How about that?
Okay.
So for the month of August, we brought in a total of $487,000. We were over budget by $121,000. Property tax collection makes up about $12,000 of that variance. And our non-levy revenue was strong. That makes up the rest, and ambulance revenue as well as interest earnings are the two main drivers of that. On the expense side, we're sitting at $1,670,000 in total expenses for the month. That is $125,000 under what we have budgeted, and you'll see we're realizing savings right now pretty much in every category, with the exception of communication and IT, and that just had to do with some software purchases throwing off that variance there for the month. On the next slide, we'll look at our year to date, and we're 2 months into the fiscal year. We have a total of $1,184,000 in total revenue. That is over budget by just under $400,000. Again, still seeing some early property tax collection. If you remember last month, I mentioned we're actually behind last year on our tax collection by about 1%. And so that's probably why we're seeing kind of that, beating our historical average as we're collecting some of that revenue that we should have collected last year. Non-levy revenue, again, continuing strong for the first 2 months, both in ambulance collection, wildland deployment revenue, and our interest earnings. Finally, looking at expenses, we're at $3,928,000 in total expenses for the 2 months. That is $285,000 under budget. And as you can see, that budgetary savings, is reflected across all aspects of the budget. Again, some of that has to do with the fact that we typically don't do a lot in the early part of the fiscal year. And some of it is just kind of some realized savings due into some vacancies within personnel. Next slide. As far as budget expended, we've expended 16% with 84% remaining. On the next slide, you'll see kind of a breakdown on where our money has gone. Right now, we're turning 87% of our total expenses to personnel. Again, that percentage is a little high because most of our personnel costs are fixed. where some of our other non-personnel related expenses it just has to do with kind of timing on when we're making those purchases. Operations makes up 6% of total expenses. Communication is at 4%, and managerial is at 3%. And next slide there. Finally, ended the month with 16.36 million total cash on hand. That's an increase of about $767,000 over the prior year. Our other assets increased from 23.2 to 26.9. A lot of that is just due to our investment in capital assets, in particular the land acquisition that we did last year. And then finally, total liability, small decrease from 32.9. Small increase from 32.9 to 33 million. And that's just kind of reflective on some timing on payables and accrued liabilities. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Gabe, it's Corey. And
Yes, Corey.
and you mentioned, that we are a little high percentage wise on personnel, and I know you in the past you like to keep that under 85%. But just to clarify again, why that is the case, that it's gotten that high.
Yeah, so really it's just more, we're 2 months into the fiscal year. And so it's really hard to judge that percentage because, one of the other things we do in the first part of the fiscal year is we deploy on wildland, which drives up some of our personnel costs. Sometimes, like I mentioned, we're not spending some of our other budgeted dollars just because as we start the year, project takes a couple months for projects to get ramped up. So I'm not concerned about that. When you look at it from a budget perspective, our personnel costs are budgeted at 76% of our total expenses. So overall, we're sitting, we're in a good spot right now. That percentage is just off, really due to where we're at in the budget process, or in the fiscal year, I should say.
Due to the other components being lower than they will be.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Other questions for Mr. Boldra? Okay, if there are no other questions, then I will entertain a motion to approve the August 2025 finance report. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Deb, thank you very much. Sorry you're not here today. Look forward to seeing you
Thank
next.
you. Yes, you will.
Okay. Chief, I turn it over to you for the staff reports.
All right, Chief Coyle.
Man, you said that so quick, I had to scramble for my mic button. So hello, everyone. I am hunting technically, but not right now. So, and I know to keep this month's brief. So I'm going to focus on some super sexy stuff that we're doing. And specifically, it is the work that Elise and Kiona have been doing along with their staff to align us on our processes. So you are going to see a lot more over the coming weeks of different clarifications on how we do things. Some of it has to do with finance. Some of it has to do with how we get rid of furniture that isn't worth very much money across the board. And basically what is going on is that as we're going through these policies and as we're looking at our processes, we are making every effort to put the policies where they belong in guidance, and then look at where we need to have processes like updated. Like the most recent one was for commercial requests for information and making sure that we were recouping all of the costs so we aren't bearing the burden of those and having unrecovered staff time for completing them. And then looking at guidance documents that are more suitable for field use when it comes to the operations side. So those are the major events that are occurring. Chief Mazulis already talked about the staffing, the people coming on board, and then also not promotions, but the time that they've had. And Kiona did not make me aware of any significant issues. So with that, I will end my part unless you have any questions.
I saw some body language related to him talking about commercial requests. Does that make sense to everybody? Like these companies will fish to try to get contracts, and so we're going to charge them. I like it. Kirk.
Good afternoon, everybody. CRR has been just cruising right along. We got our new inspector on board, which is great. You just met him again tonight. Got pinned. We're kind of status quo with everything. There was an investigation, but it kind of fell outside of before this board packet was ready. So next one, I will bring you up to speed with that. There's a couple of interesting things that happened there. So I'll make it short and sweet and go to the next slide. And just so everybody knows what's coming up. So on the 25th of this month from 8 to 3 right here at Station 1, there will be a Firewise Home Ignition Zone class, which is basically the assessor course. There are 18 seats signed up right now. There are 30 to 35 available. So anybody that wants to get in on that, it's a good class if you want to. It's kind of shoot it out towards HOAs and stuff so they can go and assess their own properties. After that, we got laughs. So John Westbrook, my inspector, is big in the laughs department there. That's learning about fire safety. That's been around for a long time. He's been doing that for 16 years. He's been the president for 13 years. And then it kind of went away because of COVID, and it's coming back. So the guy crawling out of the box, all made up, that's John. So they will be at West Sedona School on the 29th from 9 to 11. If anybody wants to attend from Sedona Fire, that's great. Kids will love it. I'll be there. And they do a lot of other venues across the Verde Valley too. So it goes on for like 2 weeks. You'll be doing this.
When he's at the high school, is it the entire?
This is like for elementary school levels,
Ah,
but laughs now is developing into getting more out into the older groups, trips and falls, smoke alarms, you name it. The whole gamut, the whole age group now. It's not just dress up and be clowning for the kids and make them and teach them. Now they go out to adults, and we're going to do that too. So it moves forward.
And laughs is life and fire safety education, and it's a partnership between the Forest Service and all the regional agencies. And so they'll develop their script for the year and their theme, and then they hit every elementary school in the Verde Valley. So it's pretty neat.
They put a lot of time and effort in it. They meet once a week to rehearse because it's a whole new skit every year. It's not the same one every year. It's a whole new theme and a whole new performance. So the next one we got coming up in October 4th is the community outreach event, and that is basically National Night Out. That's what most people are calling that. Sedona's calling it the community outreach event. So that's up at the Posse Grounds on the 4th at 3 to 5, and law enforcement's there. We will be there. Forest Service is there. Pretty much anyone of the first responders are going to be up there for that. And then the last one is Fire Prevention Week is October 5th to the 11th. So we are going to do a smoke alarm walk at the Rainbow Trailer Park in Oak Creek Canyon on October 11th from 8 to 12. And I'm looking for anybody that would like to put up a smoke alarm with me. That'd be great. I also have another event that's happening the same day that I didn't put up there, didn't make it there because I got last minute notice. At the airport will be their airport days. They call it the Wheels Up event. And they do that every year. And they'll have custom cars up there, aircraft, and it's an all-day event. And I plan to be there also. Same day,
Same time.
October 11th.
Wait and see how that goes.
Yeah. And that's just the flyer for the smoke alarm thing. And I believe that's all I've got unless there's any questions.
No questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Buzz.
Cool. You can see a couple pictures. The one on the left, lower left, is our dispatch center in Cottonwood. Just kind of show you what it's that's one console. All those monitors are viewed by a human. And there's like 3 or 4 mice as they're switching hands and doing all, because while taking calls and telling us where to go all day and night. So that's, just in case you haven't been there, that's what that one is. And the one on the right, we did 4 community CPR classes. Again, those are to specific groups that request us on a group basis, not by, individuals that come in. And that one's significant because this is our occupational medical office that we all go to for our physicals. So Dr. Wesley's office. And he is, you can't see him, but he's the brown shoes to the left on that upper right picture. That's his wife, who's a nurse with the kind of peach scrubs. But it was an interesting one. The reason it's on there is because we pretended that a firefighter was on the treadmill and had a cardiac arrest. And so it was very real. Everything from them engaging and now they are not, he was an emergency physician in the past, but this is not an emergency medical office. When we walk into these many times, they are ill prepared to handle emergencies. They're used to appointments and medicine, and then people leave healthy. So he wanted to play it out from start to finish. That just shows you the partnership we have with our wellness or Ahmed physician. And they played it out all the way into including alerting us and doing a fake transfer to the crew when we arrived and everything. So kind of a little more significant than your typical CPR class. So it's another great partnership that we have. And continuing working with the hospital, NEH, everything from broken doors to adding new drugs to our drug boxes to better serve, and continuing working on the interfacility transfer issues. You saw our 3 new paramedics, which is super cool, helps staffing and capability and capacity out there. As far as fleet goes, Mike continues to keep and Reese keep everything going. And it's pretty wild. Lately, it's been projects they would like to work on instead of emergency breakage. We also have helped out our neighboring department with at least 1 apparatus so far as they work out their fleet woes, and maybe another one soon, I think, too. We'll see. So, and that allows us to stay ready to back up after this.
It's good.
Yeah.
We do that without any charge.
Yeah, we do. It's just part of that whole, if I'm wrong, let me know, but if they don't have 911 capability, neither do we as a backup. So it's just part of that whole thing. And it's a short-term situation.
And it's other than wear and tear, whatever that means for 4 days of lending it, but it's their equipment, their fuel, their everything. So doesn't cost our taxpayers anything relatively. And the reciprocating piece of that, it's the difference is that ambulance would go out of service and then they'd be calling us to go down there.
Correct.
To cover the calls. And so it's
You're constantly moving up 30 miles every time. There's nothing close to us as far as other agencies.
In the Verde Valley, we're not, for our peak times, which are becoming more frequent, we're not staffing enough ambulances as it is regionally. So if one is out of service, then it just means we're going to have one out of pocket more. So it made sense. And
one of the reasons that led to that was they have a brand new ambulance that hadn't been certified by DHS yet. And so it was sitting waiting for that. So they're working on it. The person who would do that has recently passed away. So some of the new people are reeling, trying to figure out how to run an EMS system.
Could be a while before it gets to it.
Yeah, it's true sometimes. So that's kind of what's going on there. We're continuing to auction and sell the surplus and older things that we've been tasked with purchasing to replace. So that's been happening. Then Chief Mazulis and I keep meeting with Mike, the fleet manager, to figure out how to sustain the fleet with the current pricing and lead times and all. So we're waiting for really some magic pixie dust maybe. But as far as GIS, that's Matt Spinelli, and he's been partnering more, and we've kind of been returning him home to his core duties of data analytics and helping with maps and things. He's also helping with some of the other pieces with Elise and her team, but that is within his skill set because most of those are ArcGIS products that he's using to help facilitate that. And he has a skill set. He's kind of a wizard with that. So next month, we'll be hosting the first Northern Arizona Regional ArcGIS Summit. We'll be here. So that was Matt's idea to try and bring all the resources together to collaborate more. You're kind of on an island, especially in our parts. If you're a public safety GIS person, you might be the only one north of Maricopa County. And that tends to be Matt's position as far as where he landed. So he does things with other more like civil GIS folks that work for the city and things like that, but not a lot of public safety folks. So he wants to bring them here so we can collaborate and work and share ideas. And then lastly, as far as behavioral health for our members and mental wellness, the team's still doing quarterly training. We haven't been called out in the last month. We're sort of on standby for the recent Timber Mesa happenings available there. And our team is being it's working because I hear less about what's going on. The team is mobilized and the main team lead really is Captain Scaife. He's just seeing when there's critical incidents, checking in with all the captains, and then mobilizing peer support members as needed. And it's starting to show fruit more and more. And it's hopefully effective. It's hard to see no fruit is good fruit kind of in a thing like that, right? When things don't pop up. So that's a wonderful program that you guys have helped support certainly. So, and I'll just that's sorry as fast as I could go. I'm passionate about this place. I like this place. So it's hard not to tell you what we're all about.
When you say called out, when none were called out recently, does that mean I gather to other districts that we can provide peer support for them?
Correct. We do it on both and.
Mm-hmm.
So we could mobilize a more of a team response internally.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say those check-ins with Captain Scaife and the captains and those peer support interactions led to them reaching the top end of their capability and understanding and skill set. Then the team might mobilize with our clinician in concert. And we may visit a station in more of a formal manner or follow up in more of a formal manner or to other agencies. We respond and partner with the Prescott Basin. So Prescott Fire Department and CAFMA. We have the same initial training. We even share team meeting notes and we collaborate a lot with our teams. And so where that's helpful, God forbid, we have an incident that we're incapable of because it's close to home.
Mm-hmm.
They could mobilize here and vice versa. So it creates some redundancy, as well as Sedona PD and some of the other law enforcement agencies. We help them out too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Jordan. Good evening. I'll try to make mine brief as well. So since last board meeting, we did certify one new blue card instructor. So if you remember correctly, blue card is our incident command structure, how we run incidents on the fire ground. It's a 5-day class. So we're up to 3 instructors now with 1 more slated in November. So 4 will give us a good instructor to student ratio for our quarterly trainings that we started, and then bringing on some of our newer employees and running them through a week-long 3-day class. It's pretty labor intensive, time intensive. So having 4 instructors now, we'll be able to handle that quite a bit better. So sharing the workload there. State Fire School, I talked about that last board meeting. We ended up sending 11. So 11 individuals went down. I think all but one of those 11 took classes focusing on engineering, which the engineer promotion assessment center is coming up next spring. So understandably so. So a lot of hydraulics, pumps and hydraulic classes, pump theory classes where they go in and actually look inside the pump, see how it works on a fire engine, and then be able to troubleshoot if they encounter a problem shift. So we were able to send 11. Special shout out to the battalion chiefs for allowing that to happen and helping with staffing to make that happen. Because when there's 11 individuals go, if they are working, we have to find people to work back for them. And that on top of everything else. Planned days off can get difficult at times. So the battalion chiefs are doing a great job, and just want to acknowledge that.
If the 11th didn't focus on engineering, what did he focus on?
Leadership. So leadership, company officer leadership. It's an individual that's already an engineer, and he's looking at participating in the captain's assessment center, which will be coming up in 2.5 years. So good on him. Already starting to pre-plan that, take some classes and get some education leadership training. So the Engineers Academy, we've been talking about that a lot. Again, I want to thank the BCs for their help thus far. We do have 17 of our employees enrolled in that. It's a 3-day academy that we're doing internally here at Sedona Fire. Day 1 on Monday will be here in the multi-purpose room, classroom. We've got some senior captains coming in to talk to them about expectations company officers have of new engineers. And then we'll be 2 days down at the training center in Cottonwood. So on top of 17 individuals that are enrolled in the academy, we have 4 instructors that'll be with them full time throughout the 3 days, and a couple other instructors coming in on Monday. So again, it can be very difficult staffing wise, and that is our priority, is make sure we are staffed and have a full complement to respond for our primary duty to the public. So far, so good. And again, thanks to the BCs for really helping out with that, because it is a lot. Probationary evaluations. We've got 4 of the 6-month evaluations coming up the end of this month, beginning of October, and then 4 of the 1 years coming up in October as well. So those individuals on the 1 year will be coming off probation as long as everything goes well. And then the 4 individuals will be coming off their 6-month probation cycle, heading into the second 6-month and working on that portion of their task book, preparing for that 12-month evaluation. So as far as I hear, they're all doing great. They're excited to get on with this, and we'll see how it goes. Regional Training Center update. I haven't talked about that a lot. I think it was a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I was volunteered or voluntold that I'll be assisting in the facilities with the Sedona Verde Valley Regional Training Center, which is located near the airport in Cottonwood. So for those of you who have not been out there, it's a dedicated training ground where we do our live fire evolutions. We do our extrication training down there. There is a classroom portion that Yavapai College owns that we can do classroom work in there as well. And as all of you are well aware, City of Sedona is not getting any smaller, and it's getting more and more difficult for us to find places to train where we actually can dedicate laying down hose and staying out of folks' way. It's very difficult. The school has, parameters where they say, hey, we can train between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So if we get 2 calls in there and the crew is planning on training there, it doesn't. So we're doing more and more training down at the training center. In light of that, there's a lot of improvements that are needed down there. So I've been working in the last month getting old apparatus removed out of there that hasn't moved in 12 to 14 years, moving some storage facilities around and making the space more usable and user-friendly for us when we go down there and have these big drills. And also inviting some of those other agencies in to do some multi-agency drills with us. So again, talking about regionally, the more we can train with them, the better equipped we are during emergency response to their area and vice versa. So we actually are having the facility inspected the end of this month to make sure that we're still allowed to use it. So hopefully that goes well. Crossing my fingers, but it has been quite a bit of work the last month, and I anticipate it lasting another month or 2 until we really get it where it's usable. Myself, kind of leading the regional training officers committee we have, and we've met out there multiple times, identified areas of improvement, and those individuals from those agencies are helping me gather bids to get some work completed down there as well. So it's progressing well.
I'm curious
Yes, ma'am.
about that, because it sounds like we're doing the heavy lifting. Or
Let me
would that
answer
be
that.
fair
Yeah.
to say?
Let me answer that.
Yeah.
We by and large we have a Jordan investing time. The collective cost to any improvements are borne by the Verde Valley Fire Chiefs Association. But frankly speaking, 25 years of talking about doing something with that center, that unless we put some energy towards it, and Jordan didn't really, it used to be very easy to go multiple places around this community and put down a few 100 feet of hose and train. And it just, that's not the case anymore. And so we made the decision, we have a space and we have the regional partners that will share the load of answering calls so we can train down there more. And it was built in the 80s and then it was a set it and forget it training center. And it is woefully outdated. And the time is the investment, but what we yield out of that is an appropriate training ground. So
Yeah, just
it adds value.
Summarize and clarify, yeah, Sedona Fire is not making infrastructure improvements as far as dollars amount. It's time invested. Some of the vendors I've had do some of the work have actually volunteered and done it for free to get some of that apparatus out of there for us. And also Verde Valley, Cottonwood, Copper Canyon have been instrumental in helping move this forward. So they've been providing a lot of assistance, meeting contractors out there as well when I'm up here and we get a call. So yeah, the partnership's working great. It was great to get that committee back up and running and it's working like it's supposed to. So. And real quick, we met on the Engineers Assessment Center that I just spoke about. That's planned for the spring. We being management, trying to forecast that out with the number of individuals that'll be testing. So that's in the works. And we're continuing on revision and content review for the policy manual, which hopefully we'll have completed shortly after the beginning of the year. Real quick, moving on to wellness activities, our functional movement screeners, which are firefighter Peyton and firefighter Garcia. We're able to work with Elise and get the functional movement screenings that we'd offered to our operational staff, offered to our administrative staff as well.
They loved it.
Yeah. Feedback was great. So I'm glad we were able to do that. We like to always include them as well into that functional movement screening, and hopefully they found it beneficial, and we can continue that for years to come. And that's basically all. Any questions?
All right, so capital updates, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. The big project, the other one we have in the works is, as I stated last month, our communications upgrade went from design and concept to project planning now. Bob's working out some frequency issues and a few other things. And October, most likely November, the vendor will have a detailed timeline that I can present on expected project status. So just working out all the little details. And as a reminder, it's a partnership with Sedona, City of Sedona and us and the vendors. So the devil's in the details, and we're trying to get everything set up so that we can have a functional flow path. Anticipated end of summer 2026 to have the system upgraded. Might be some hiccups, not hiccups, but it just that's our intended timeline, but it just depends on availability of equipment stuff, and that's building in a little bit of fluff, so we'll see. Next slide. Here's our calls. If there aren't any questions, we'll move to the next slide. Again, the station responses, station one's winning the race as usual. Next slide. Station response distribution. It similar to past few months. Next slide. And then here's some year over year, August. Oh, it's 24. Dispatch handling times. Next slide. I don't usually go this quick, but I've been told to be brief. And then our ambulance response times, things are staying pretty status quo. Next slide. And then, all right, that is the end of my report. And again, most of what I was going to cover is going to be covered right now. So. And I spent quite a bit of time today with many of the board members, and we had a lot of fruitful discussion. And so it's good. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to preface this at all with?
So, yes, so the next agenda items relate to the discussion possible action on approving contracts with LEA Architects and Corps. And what I've asked the vendors to do, and they graciously came up here, is they're available for questions. There's no formal presentation. I think the contract speaks for itself. And I just wanted to provide an opportunity for you all to ask any clarifying questions you have of the group. And if there's any meat to conversation that you feel the need to go into executive session, as you know, it's programmed into the agenda. So they are available if you have any specific questions for me or Scott. Kind of hand it over to Scott. You want to make intros?
Yeah, just briefly, I think you got the RFQ process. We identified LA architects for construction as the two these entities. So we wanted to lead us through the CMAR process, designing and then ultimately building Station 4 in uptown Sedona. So after that, we got to the, I'll quote Jason, the non-sexy part was going through the contracts. And so what Ed and the RBO committee and I, Chief Mazulis and I, got enough information to LEA and to CORE about the basic design of the station, the number of dorm rooms, number of bays, and getting to that close to what the building might look like so that they could come up with numbers to get us through the design piece of that and then leading into the building part of it. And then we got into the non-sexy piece as the contract piece. We worked through those. They worked with Mr. Whittington's office as well, and they came together and made medicine and got 2 contracts I think we all agree are workable and covering everybody's bases. And what we have Lance Enyart here with LE Architects, Jason Santor and Josh Campbell with CORE, and they're here to answer any questions you may have about the contracts, about the process, about what the next steps might be.
Well, let me open up just also the opportunity, Lance and Jason, and if there's anything you feel the board needs to hear from you, we've all seen the contracts and I'm sure there may be questions. But is there anything that you would like to say briefly to us before we ask you questions?
Just like to say on behalf of our company, LEA Architects, how excited we are to be working with the Sedona Fire District again and the design and ultimately the construction of this project. It's a special place and we just feel very blessed to have the opportunity to do so. As far as the contract goes and working with Mr. Whittington and going back and forth, the contract that's being proposed, the standard form of agreement between the owner and architect, is a very fair contract. We use it all the time. And I think in working with the Sedona Fire District and Mr. Whittington and adapting the amendments, the supplements to that contract, that we have a very fair and reasonable agreement for both parties. So all I have.
Yeah, I'll stand up and speak on behalf of CORE. So Jason Santor, Director of Pre-Construction with CORE. First and foremost, is thankful for the opportunity to serve the district on this project. We know that these don't come along very often, and it takes a lot of sweat, equity, and blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. So we have that in the back of our mind throughout all phases of the project, starting with pre-construction, knowing we're being stewards of your dollars. I think we're going to provide, as outlined in our proposal, a professional service to pre-construction and then transition into construction. And what I mean by that is we know we're in a unique time in the market right now with labor and cost escalations and lead times, as Chief Mazulis alluded to earlier. So just having a proactive approach, working with Lance, making sure that we're providing options early to stretch the dollar and put as much back into the station as possible, and making sure that we set our operations team up for success and do a good job in pre-construction. So same comments regarding the contract. I know our contracts administration worked with Bill and his team to make sure it's a fair contract and make sure that we understand it and we understand the expectations as the CMAR. We do know what that means. It's not Sedona Fire at risk. It's CORE Construction at risk. It's your construction manager at risk. So we do understand the intent of that contract, and we know that you guys are intentional in picking this procurement. So with that, look forward to any of your questions.
Thank you both, and thank you for coming up today. Let me open the floor. Board members, do you have questions for Jason and Lance?
I have a question. for Lance, actually. And I could have misread, but in the part of the contract where it speaks about timing, if I saw correctly, it said up to 12 months for the design phase. And then, of course, more months for as the buildings started. And that concerned me. What timeline do you see?
As far as the design timeline, what's built into that is
Yes.
all of the reviews. So there's reviews going through the city process, obviously, and plan review. If you back out just the time for actual design, it's closer to 6 or 7 months. So a lot of that is kind of the review process that's happening at the end of each phase. And why that's important, working with our CM at risk contractor partner, Core Construction, they're providing real-time pricing as we're developing the different phases of the design, which takes a bit of time. And then also at the delivery phases, 30%, 60%, 90%, the user in the Sedona Fire District also needs some time to review the documents and make sure we're meeting the intent of, or meeting their mission requirements. So that schedule is pretty typical for a fire station of this size, scope, and complexity from a design standpoint.
Chief, is that
Yes, and I too had paused, but as it's explained to me, there's a time period for demolition and site prep. There's Arizona Water, for example, is 5 months out. And Scott already started that process. APS has a timeline. So while it seems like a lot of time, in reality, that's the time it's going to take to prep the lot for construction, getting the water lines, the power lines, and all that stuff in. And so, we can grease the wheels with the city, hopefully, and be good partners, and maybe leverage our relationships to speed up some of those processes, hopefully. And we being Scott has already done a lot of pre-work to kind of knock out some of those things. For example, asbestos abatement inspections and things like that. We're getting everything lined up. So there's a potential for that timeline to shrink. But if that's the worst of it, if you will, then I'm comfortable with it.
Another piece we talked about just recently with Core is as we get to about that 30% phase, we may come back to the board at that time with a number about demolition at the building, lot prep, starting to get some of that work going. When they get to a point where they have a number that they can present to you, like we think the project's going here, you can look at that, and then this is what it's going to take to get the lot prep done. So we might be able to not wait 12 months to start actually working. There's ways that we can kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, there's a phased guaranteed maximum price approach. So I think the beautiful thing about this delivery method is we don't have to wait for design to be complete to start construction. So as Scott mentioned early on in that process, we're going to meet with Lance and his team to understand the demolition permit, maybe some early grading and site utilities that could happen. So we could get overlapped of starting construction while design is completed. But to Scott's point, if we come back to the board for an approval of that scope, we'll make sure that we include the cost of the overall project as well. So that we're in a good financial standpoint for the whole project before you approve a small piece of it.
Then there was just one small thing. Should I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this was just very minor. I think it was just a typo. I don't know if it did it get corrected?
We'll make note of it.
Note,
Yeah.
That the little decimal point was missing on an hourly wage
I heard about that.
with the time.
Nice try.
It was good.
For the viewing audience, because of a decimal point error, which will be fixed, we will not be paying $13,500 an hour for.
Either will we.
Everybody's grateful for that. Yeah. Other questions?
I have a general question, and I don't know a lot about how this works, but how are you managing Trump's tariffs as you begin to approach this project?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have a perfect answer to that because there's a lot of unpredictability there.
Sure.
But what I do know, and I'd be happy to share with Scott and Chief Mazulis, and then could pass along to you, is we put together a quarterly market conditions report specific to Arizona to really understand what the costs are doing and what certain scopes are more we have more concerns with based on some of the potential tariffs or the tariffs that are even in place right now. So what that means to this project is early on in design, once I'll say the puzzle pieces are figured out and we're moving past programming, we're going to be putting together what we call option studies of different structure types, of mechanical systems, of various components of the project, to look at costs alone, look at lead times alone, and identify how these solutions could be impacted by tariffs, and try to make that best informed recommendation early on in the process, so that we could try to avoid some of those. As part of GMP, what some districts or departments have done most recently would be to include a tariff allowance as part of that GMP, because we're going to be contracting with trade partners as soon as we possibly can. And we're going to give them a contract, and sometimes they're not allowed to order certain materials until certain times. So we have put verbiage in contracts for that type of an allowance, knowing that we can't spend a single penny of it without approval. And the way that we've been able to provide appropriate justification or documentation for that is when we go to contract with a trade partner, we've been getting all of their supplier quotes. And then by the time they're able to order a certain material, we're able to get, if there was any changes, we're able to get justification and documentation from that supplier. But fortunately, we've never had to even dip into any of those allowances that we've ever identified by doing this proactive approach in pre-con and really identifying certain materials that we should or shouldn't be using.
So might you be looking at different vendors within that scope?
Exactly. So not only different manufacturers, but different suppliers and and definitely different trade partners. So all the layers of the manufacturing to supply to install.
Even looking at the design piece as they're going forward, they find out that something skyrocketed. Maybe there's another way to go, and LEA to redesign that or change that or tweak it.
And from a design perspective, the tariffs is one piece, but we're also looking at the performance of the systems that are being considered, such as the different types of mechanical systems, and through energy modeling can predict, okay, there's payback or a savings over the long term of certain amount of energy and dollars, but there's a little bit of a premium for that system. So those are the kind of things that we're evaluating in real time as we progress the design, working with the CMAR partner on the tariffs piece and the procurement side, lead time side as well.
Thank you.
Other questions?
It's one general one, Mr. Whittington, since these are contracts we're going to improve, hopefully.
Well,
Yeah, Mr. Whittington, do you have anything additional to say as we approach approving the contracts?
And not to say too much unless we're in executive session, but I will tell you that we've worked with both of these groups several times with other clients, and the results have always been excellent. They're very ethical and upfront with us. We've never had a problem.
So that is the lead into my question to the board. At this point, we sort of face a decision point. So I asked the board members, do you have questions for Mr. Whittington about these contracts such that we should proceed into executive session about these contracts? If not, then we can proceed with the motion around approving the contracts. But my question is, if you have legally appropriate legal questions that you want to ask Mr. Whittington, now is the time to let us know, and we'll make the decision about going into executive session. You're okay?
I don't have any, but I am asking Mr. Whittington, does he have any need to have us be in executive session?
All right, I think we've worked through this pretty carefully over the last few months, both with CORE and LEA and management. I'm comfortable moving forward.
Very good.
And what about with this board, Mr. Whittington? Do you feel that the board has the information that we need to make sound decisions around
We do.
contracts without going into executive session?
Yes, I'm not, as I mentioned to the board chair before the meeting, I'm not feeling any need to go into executive session unless y'all have specific questions for me. I felt like we've covered the detail.
Right. So on that basis, I will make a motion to approve the Station 4 construction project contract for construction manager at risk CMAR services with Core Construction
In the amount of
It-
136,578.
in the amount of 136,578. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any say nay? Or is approved. And now to approve, the Station 4 construction project contract for architectural services with LEA Architects in the amount of
988,555.
988,555. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. The LEA contract is approved. We look forward to working with you both.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one other question? And it's kind of on the way. I got my core hat down in, Glendale. If I lose it, can I get one? Oh.
You can now.
Yeah.
Still agree on that, Bill.
Yeah.
And just a point of order, Corey's gonna exit stage right, they're gonna do DocuSign.
Okay,
Lance is gonna hang out and go sign the paper.
wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A1 regarding the fire chief's evaluation and contract for services, legal advice pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3, and instructions to attorney pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A4 regarding the same. Can I have a seconder?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. We will go into executive session. I hereby move the approval of Chief Missoula's evaluation. Do I have a seconder?
Moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay. And I will make a motion to also approve the chief's new contract for services as presented to the board, and the contract will be effective September 4th, 2025. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Just to say, we've had the opportunity to discuss this, of course, in executive meetings, so we have put some time in talking about it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Chief, your new contract is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Visit this in 3 years.
Okay,
I'll be here.
very quickly, any board member updates and ideas for future meetings?
Wait,
I don't think so. On that, we will adjourn this meeting of the Sedona Fire District Governing